everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A State of Loud. This is your host, Christopher Jefferson, here, joining you for another amazing episode, one I've been looking forward to for a long time. I know you have as well. And you know I can't forget the one and only, the man by my side every time, the producer, AJX Beastie Boys is in the building.
Oh, man. Hey, man.
AJX Bash Brothers
We're here.
is in the
We're here
town.
once again. We're here once again.
We are here once again. AJX Bash Brother, how you doing today, my guy?
Good, man.
Good. Happy to have you. Looking snazzy today.
I'm present.
You are present. Are you selling you the gift?
Something like that.
Just saying, my guy. You're looking snazzy today. It's happy to have it. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to say it up front because I always leave it to the end. If you're paying attention and you like what you heard, we could appreciate it if you like. Subscribe, share, show it to a friend, follow us on Instagram, all those cool things. Maybe get a free t-shirt or something. Who knows? But no, we have two amazing guests. I've had them on my show before. Amazing time. My mind is always blown every time I have them on the episode. Super inspiring people, not just because of what they do, but just the energy they hold for the people around them to do what they want to do. They've inspired me to go further in life, and hopefully through this episode that will inspire you a bit as well. So you guys, please give a nice warm welcome and a round of applause at home to Kai and Dell. Yes, welcome to the show. Guys, welcome to the show. Seriously, I should say welcome back because you guys are like crafty veterans to this at this point. Same energy, new place, would you say?
You got to let the people know what happened.
I got to let this is why I have you here, AJ. What am I letting them know what happened?
We on season 3, but they can't see season 1 or 2.
Oh, they can't see season 1 or 2. So a little backstory. You guys were one of my first guests when we were in the apartment on South Street in Jersey City. And we were on the couch. I still can picture it. You were sitting in the reading chair, and then Kai, you were to my left, and we had the 3 mics and headphones, and I think we had there were random candies and snacks around. Yeah, we were eating a lot of stuff.
And I got some fried chicken down the street.
Oh, true. Yeah, the California fried chicken. I was like, nah, they got gyros and cheesesteaks, and bro. I remember that whole night, and I think the conversation probably was 2-3 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
Blew my mind. I had to pause halfway through half the time, hold on. Let me just breathe a second. And I'm probably going to do that now, but it was definitely a good time, and it's why I'm happy to have you guys back here. Since then, you guys have definitely been up to bigger and better things. You guys have your own social media presence out there for what you guys put together for the people of this world. I can speak about it, but I'm not going to be as good at it. So I'm going to just ask you guys, what have you guys been up to lately?
Ladies first. Nope.
Oh, wow. Wow. AJ, how's your day going? No, I'm joking.
Good, man. I'm good.
This is the opportunity to speak. Go ahead. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, I always got the mic. I don't mind. Thank you. Thank you for being so kind.
Wow. I'm okay. All right. I'm there's no tension at all. This is all honest feelings here. No, but what have you guys been up to? I know life is kind of life, and as you said, life is not just life, but
universe is universe.
Exactly. Nice. Let's get it there, folks. But so I'm going to ask then. So what entail does that mean for you?
So since I was young, Chris.
Oh God, we're all still young-ish.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm about to be 40 next year, man.
But that's
no, I'm joking.
Wow. That's not that bad.
Young.
That's not bad at all.
It's not, but
bro,
I'm at that point of realizing this is my our last full year of being 39. The last full year in the 30s.
So what significance does that hold for you?
It's a step into another decade. A step into just new numbers, but also just reflecting. Something to be grateful for.
Right.
About to be 39. Well, willingly, I'm going to make it 39 because every moment is not guaranteed moving forward. But
that's right.
Right now, to be able to live for 38 years is definitely a blessing.
Seriously. I definitely hear you on that, folks, man. That definitely happened. The interesting thing is I don't look at my age as being old yet. Almost like internally, I'm I still have it's I can still see the world through my eyes as if I was a kid.
Yeah.
But my memory bank has so much more knowledge in it now. So I'm not just ooh, fire, hot. No, I'm I can cook on that. I'm not touching that again. It's a weird feeling. Do you kind of feel that way as you get older when you say reflecting?
Yeah. And I have that feeling too as a kid, but then also I have a kid.
So
it's a great
different.
reminder, let me know about age-wise, because a good reminder is what happened last month. He went to his very first middle school dance.
Sheesh. Boy-girl dance.
Yeah.
Hold hands.
But here's the different thing. They don't dance with each other.
What,
Like the boys don't dance with the girls. I'm like, back in my days. And
Right.
then that's why I called myself, oh, crap, I'm saying
you remember that? They were like, leave room for the Lord.
yeah. But as soon as the chaperone turned around.
Oh, and then they put on like Funkmaster Flex or something like, oh, buddy, people go, da, da, da. Oh, and they were like, quit this, don't do that.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So watching him go through that process, like, how does that feel at that point? Like, what kind of emotions does it fester in you kind of watching him grow that way?
It's like the passing the torch. Because I used to be that kid. And my dad, when he was alive, he took me to the middle school dances. So it was a different switch with it because he came to me like, Dad, can I put on your expensive cologne? And I'm like,
Not too
wow.
much, though.
Yeah. I gave him the spritzer of it, but like, I'm like, wow, like he's stepping into that stage now. Middle school. He goes to the same middle school that I went to.
Oh, my goodness.
I experienced mixed reviews
Yeah.
in middle school.
Okay.
But so like it's a good reflection to let me know as well, also with the inner work I've been doing. Like I actually could be in that space and be okay with it and stuff. So.
Yeah, seriously, because how can I say, there's got to give you some sort of type of flashbacks, walking down the same halls. Everything seems smaller than when you remember it. Like,
Not as much bigger. They added
Really?
They added much, like a whole bunch of other stuff to it. But like this whole past couple years been like that type of moments. Had the 20-year high school reunion.
you went.
That one I did.
Okay.
The 10-year one, I said, fuck it. I'm not going to it. Fuck everyone type of thing. But yeah, it was good to like be back there after like 20-something years. It's like wow, I'm here.
Yeah.
But the blink of an eye, 20 years.
Seriously. That's such a wild feeling, man. That's
Yeah.
such a wild feeling. I couldn't imagine going back to my middle school at this point and realize how old I was at that point. Like that would, you'd be like, where do years go?
And even just think about it, we have the internet, we have cell phones
Bro,
and stuff
isn't that
like
truth, right? Cell phones, no cell phones in middle school yet. They weren't like a regular person thing.
We had the giant Apple computers.
Right? Oh my God. Well, when that's when they started putting the neon casings in the back, right? And the mouse. Oh, be quiet.
I'm saying,
I don't even
say,
know. What do you tell me more about this, AJ? Please.
I say all the time, man. I've been here for eons now, so
I mean, so I call you the Oracle, my bro. You call it, it happens. I don't even challenge you anymore. Tell me more about our old computers, AJ.
hey, I have no clue.
Good. At least we got something.
No
At least
knowledge,
we got
no
something.
Oracle doesn't know that.
It's fine.
I don't know, man.
It'll come back to him. He'll see it at a store and touch it at a thrift shop, and he'll be like, "Oh, yeah, math games," and watch it'll come on. But
there's an AJ somewhere out there that's on one of those computers right now.
I'm done with you, bro.
not a
I'm gonna take your mic. I'm gonna take your mic. I'm gonna take your mic. I'm gonna take your mic at this point. But that's such a crazy situation. Now, Kai, I'm gonna ask because we were talking about basic things of like where we are, what we're experiencing, where we're at. Where are you personally at right now?
So when I was younger,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I thought about some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was 9 years old, wondering what is nirvana. Like I knew it was a word.
Yeah.
But I knew that there was something associated with that word that I wanted to know. And then my mom got me a Nirvana T-shirt for Christmas this past Christmas.
Sheesh.
And it just took me back to those times where who was I? I was trying to write a book at like 7.
Yo, my family's wild. I'm just gonna say that, like, wild.
I didn't even like to read.
Like,
Writing a book. You know.
continue. I have no reply on that. Please continue, please.
So when I was young, usually people are like, oh yeah, I can't wait until I'm 21, right? You know, like so I can drink, or I'm 18 so that I'm adult. I don't know why, but little me was like, yo, I can't wait until I'm 40. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be happy.
Ooh. Oh God. Yo, no one says that. I know at my young age that wasn't even a goal I ever listed. And I don't know many even young kids these days that say that.
I would say it's even harder now.
Just throwing a hypothesis out there. Do you think kids aren't asking for that because mostly, like, for us in our childlike state, we are that already.
Mm.
You don't have to ask for what you already have.
Like it's already there at the core.
Like you already are.
Yeah, you already are.
That's just a childlike state.
Wow.
Playfulness, joy. Doesn't that sound like happiness already?
Jesus. And then you're just curious.
And then life fucks you up.
Yeah. Wow. But for you wanting to, and I'm going back to this, you wanting to be 40 at 8 years old,
Right.
to be happy.
Right.
Was there an awareness of like, okay, I'm either not happy or I'm still figuring out what happiness is, or happiness is something to achieve? What were your thoughts on that at that age were like, okay, I want to be happy?
Got it. I read a lot of self-development books before I hit the teens. And I remember this particularly because Stephen Covey had a book out.
Okay.
And it was how to be like, it's 7 effective like ways to something like that.
I know. I think I know the
to
book
be
you're
a
talking
teen.
about. Yeah.
And I'm reading it and I'm like, I'm 11. I'm ahead of the game.
let me get ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Let me do the extra credit. Okay. All right.
And it was like that for me growing up. Like I was making lists of things that I wanted to do. It like I already like felt like I was grown up.
Okay.
And I was already planning out my future for myself.
Sheesh. Wow. Because I don't. Oh man, I can't. I now I'm in my life planning it out. Like I can't remember a time. I'm trying to think back at the time. So at that young age, you kind of knew where you wanted to go and what you wanted to do. Like I'm super curious to know, when was the earliest age you like started planning out life?
The earliest age that I started planning, period.
Yeah, you were like, okay, I got to plan this out.
I remember that I was sitting in my high chair.
Yo.
Like literally, like early as memory, right?
Kids already know.
I'm sitting in my high chair and I'm sorting out the peas and the carrots.
Yo, like, bro, I'm only laughing because, like, I couldn't imagine what that level of awareness would be like at such a young age. Because, like, we only think about it in movies, right? Like, what's that movie with the, Look Who's Talking Now? Was it like the babies? Yeah, and he has his own inner dialogue. I couldn't imagine having that. And like, as an adult, I think at that age I would have freaked out. I probably had it, but I just am not aware of it. Like, okay.
What, like
see, well, no, that's a grown man. That's a grown man. People work for him when at that age. People are like, hi, Mr. Baby, sir. I can't wait to be employed by you. Like, no, that's a grown man. That is so wild because it's like it puts you in the mindset of like a question of, right, like, how early do we have consciousness of planning, understanding, and moving forward, right? Because a lot of us, what I used to use when I was a kid, I always ask my friends, like, at what point did you realize you were going to die? When did you have self-awareness that, like, this is not forever? Because at that point is usually, like, the pinnacle changing point in a kid's life where you're like, oh, shit, I got to get up. Like, I can't just, either I'm going to sit here and be like, well, what's happening anyway? Whatever, I'm down. Or you're going to get up and be like, oh, crap, that's going to happen. I got to get up and move. But for you, you were just like, all right, well, peas, carrots, fuck you, potatoes. Like, at that point.
Yeah. And it's a very interesting story because, you know, I went through school like everybody else, and I had this mindset already going into school. So when I started, you know, I did the whole gifted program. That's what they called it.
Yep, the gifted and talented program.
School,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah. I took the SATs in 8th grade, and they were like, oh. And then Johns Hopkins University reached out to my mom and was like, yo, can we study this child?
Yo, how did I not know any of this? Like, I'm going to be completely candid on this, Joe. This is wild. I didn't know any of this. And it's intriguing to me because what blows my mind most is, and I don't want to divulge away from your story, just sharing my thought is, like, I remember, I forgot what grade I was in, and my mom was like, he's just bored. He's not talkative. Like, just give him more work. And they were like, well, nah, that won't help. Can we just skip him a grade? And my mom was like, no, he's got a twin, and I'm not doing that. And then you're sitting here like, nah, they were going to study me. I'm like, yo, keep going. I need to find out these roots. Keep going. So did they actually study you?
I don't know what my mom said, but I did end up in a lot of different programs.
So you're like 11 from Stranger Things. That's all I'm picturing in my head. Is like, she was like, yeah, take her, put her in there, see what happens. And you're like, hold on, I can move that. And like, didn't have to touch the peas and carrots. Just, maybe, I don't know. I'm just putting things out there at this point. So do you remember like that experience though?
The experience of, being in the different programs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like being who I was and being in the, presence of other people who were being who they were.
Wow.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yep. Just gonna leave it there. This whole episode is gonna be an interesting experience through time. We're just gonna take it that way. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. It's interesting guys. The way talking to you guys, in how my mind works is like, you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about time and relativity, right? But have you also seen the movie Tenet? You ever seen the movie
I haven't
Tenet?
seen Tenet yet. That's Denzel's son, right?
Yes, it is Denzel's son.
I
I'm not disappointed. It's so basically in the movie there's people that can time travel both forward and backwards, and they can be in the same place at the same time. So when you're watching the film, some people are moving backwards, but their backwards moves are fighting your forwards moves. So it's an interesting balance in it, and I feel like that's almost the way I'm talking to you guys. Is like for you, I'm going this way, and for you, I'm going this way. And so I'm like, this is going to be the most mind-blowing interview for myself ever. Because I want to ask you guys questions. We're just in two different times. But we're going to get to the center, and I'm going to keep diving in. Because now we're at your childhood, and we're at your adulthood. I'm just sharing that because this is going to be so fun. So let's get that show on the road. So you remember going through the programs. You remember doing everything that you took there.
Yes.
Like, so how do you feel those experiences affected you in your adult life? Because from my earliest experiences of just watching you get older as I got older, anything that you were into, you fully embodied. I never saw you do something like half. There was no like Kai's doing a hobby thing. It was like, yo, this is it. And we're all in here. Every single part of life. Like I remember, even now, like, and it's one of the things I've always appreciated about you is just like your willingness to go in. Has those experiences in your youth dictated or affected your willingness to go as deep as you have in getting involved to the things that you're interested in?
Absolutely. And it's the reason why I say that I was just being who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really feel like I already knew, like, who I was going to be, and I'm still being that person. The way that I was thinking at 14 years old when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm writing a paper for AP Art History.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the freaking floppy disk into the computer, and it asked me, after I finished writing my papers, it's like, oh, do you want to reformat the disk? And I had no idea what that meant.
Oh, God.
I was
and
14.
you were like, yup. You were like, yup.
And I
It
was
was
like,
gone.
yeah.
I still have a hard time reformatting my memory cards and my cameras knowing the footage is backed up twice. I got to deal with that myself one day. But that's so interesting that to be at that level of knowing who you are, what you wanted to grow up with, it almost dives into at that point where you were aware like, okay, I'm going to get to where I want to be. I just have to be patient. Like there's a lot I need to learn on this journey before I can get there. Were you that aware of where you were going, or were you kind of just like, all right, I'm just going to keep learning and growing. It's going to get me there.
So here's what happened. When it asked me if I wanted to reformat the disk and I said yes, I looked at the situation and I said, what does this mean? And I remember this so clearly. I asked myself, Kai, if you knew that this was going to happen, would you do all of this? Meaning like the past 14 years up until this point, all over again and still find yourself in the same position. And in that moment, I answered to myself so confidently. I said yes.
Whew.
And isn't that the nature of human awareness?
Yeah.
That we come to this realm, this reality, not knowing all of the knowledge that we had before. Someone formatted our disk, and I don't know if we consented to it or not. We probably did. But I asked myself that question in that moment, and I continue to ask myself that question. And it's a reminder of what state that I was in at that time, at that age.
Yeah.
And it helps me not forget who I am.
That's real. We're literally just talking about this.
Yeah, bro.
That's why,
Bro. But
most kids already know him.
I love that. Wow. I think knowing what I know now, I definitely agree. Because it wasn't until recently, like when I was making that decision of like, okay, you've proven to yourself you're capable of creating and doing anything you want in this world, right? Like if you can see it in your head, 99% chance it's because it's something you're capable of. And then like most people saying, Steve Harvey says, why you think they're showing it to you? Because guess what God has for you? Go get it. And I'm a firm believer in that. The interesting part I bring to that story is everything I'm doing now is what I started to enjoy liking when I was young. 8 years old was like a pinnacle year for me. It was like, oh yeah, I love cars. I like this music. I like these clothes. Like I still dress the same way I did when I was a kid. Ironically enough, it's probably why I cut my hair because I was like, this is what 8 years old. 8 years old, I started growing my hair out. I think. Yeah. What's 7th grade? That's like 12. Yeah, I had short. I had braids when I was young. I had braids like a lot in my life.
That's right.
I have a lot of long hair and a lot of long braids. Wow, enough about that. We'll go on another day. But like, it was so interesting because now I'm building back into it. And the ironic part is there were always points in my life where I was doing things and it never felt like this made sense. Like it was interesting because I had like this inherent feeling I'm supposed to be doing these things. This is what's meant for me. But I had a lot of external barriers that were like, nah, can't do that. Nah, you can't do that. And interesting, up until a couple of years ago, having people in my life that were like, oh, you want too much. You're doing too much. Why can't you just do this? Like, be realistic. And I was like, and ironically, my life doesn't involve those people. Not because I had to force them, but I was like, no, I'm going to go build this. And now the life I live is literally insane. Every day of my life when I wake up, I wake up and my first thought is today's going to be sick. All right, let's keep going. What are we going to do now? And it leads me to the next question, Dell, because you started talking about where your son is. In middle school, and it allows you to reflect on where he is and being in a position where your dad was of observing him. When you're watching him at this point, do you feel like it's as if you're watching yourself and reliving that point in your life, almost like it's like Inception, so to speak, where it's like the layers of your reality watching it, or is it more or less something that's just reflective?
Reflective for me. But it's cool because we was talking about same energy, different environments.
Yeah.
So it's a different thing for me. It's a same space, different energy. So my son has his own journey. And I was just talking to a couple of my homies who are fathers as well, because I asked them a question in regards to the balance of allowing your kid to fail at stuff and then try to protect them and telling them, like, try to warn them about stuff.
Yeah.
But then also let him learn a lesson with it. And I shared an example of it was, so he's at that age now, he got crushes on girls and stuff. Hopefully he doesn't see this, he's going to get pissed off.
Put that in the real place.
But he's being away with girls the way that I was with girls before. Wow. And it led to not working out. So being overly needy, he's at this thing, I really want a girlfriend. And I was like, for me, my own experience when I did that, that means the first person who gave me attention, I settled for that relationship. But the thing of it is that person I settled for was also giving everyone else attention. So my first experience with relationship was dealing with that and had to do some healing work with that. Yeah. So I'm like, I was trying to warn him about that potentially, but then I'm like, he doesn't want to hear it from me yet.
See, that's the hard part, right? Because this is where I say it ties in, right? Because it's like Back to the Future. You can literally tell him like, yo, Marty, don't go in there. And you're like, shit, if I tell him, then I'm going to change the future and he's not going to get the chance to learn the way I did, which means he may not get back to my point. Bro, it's all a circle. That's crazy. But like literally, you have to be able to sit back and say, I can't affect, I can guide, I can whisper, but I need him to have his journey and make his own decisions.
Wow, I just had a realization. It's like, for me, the way I'm seeing it is now from like a spiritual perspective. So whatever the higher powers your understanding is, it guides you. Yeah. It doesn't come, hey, don't go this way.
Right?
If you do this is going to happen, or this or this or this. It's guidance.
Yeah.
And the free will and the free choice. Like, okay, here's some guidance. This is what's presented in front of you, but now you got the free will and choice. How are you going to respond to this? You go this way, you go that way, you go whatever way you choose to. Whatever way you choose to is going to take you to a trajectory in your own life experience. And now I'm just expanding even more with it.
No, please.
I believe that every experience is infinite possibilities.
Yes.
So an experience is happening. So even this one right now, there's infinite situations of what's happening of us having this conversation. But when situations presents itself in moments, you got a choice. Which way am I going to do this? And that's why when people make a decision that they make in that moment, they can reflect back now when they have a more awareness. Oh, crap. I could have done it this way. I could have done it this way.
Yeah.
And there's a reality that existed when she did make that decision. And like you said, the thought, if you weren't thinking it, that means it exists if you're thinking of it.
That's a crazy wild point because one of my really big first references was Rick and Morty. Like I say it because like they were the one show that continued on it. Like there's YouTube videos about the guy that has the book that like every time he closes it, he can go to another timeline and keep retrying with trying to like hook up with this woman. And the funny thing is like every time like he would get further, but then he's like, nope, this is not working. And he closed the book and go to another timeline. And then like as he's sitting there reading the book, the woman, it doesn't work out with the woman. And then another person in his life comes in, she's like, well, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, you're not gonna believe if I told you. She's like, humor me. So he keeps telling her. He starts telling her like, yeah, with this book, I can travel between different dimensions into different timelines that allow me to try to hook up with this lady that I'm really attracted to. Like I want to be my wife. And the professor says to him, you do realize every time you leave that timeline, you die. So the woman that you're trying to get, like you close the book and then you just die. And like, so that woman that you keep leaving because she doesn't want to be with you, you keep traumatizing her in other timelines. Damn. And he was like, wait, what? She goes, yeah, you can only be present in one place, bro. So you're just got, however many times you did this, just you dead. Traumatize that woman over and over. Wow. And he goes, oh my God. And like at that point, and then it ended. And in my mind, the only thing I thot was, so did he do it again? Like at that point, it didn't happen, but I didn't see it. It's okay. Like, but that's kind of the thing of the infinite possibilities of things happening in life, and realizing that if you have control over the directions or whatever perceived control, right? Like if you're just on the ride, right? Whatever you're experiencing now is meant for you to experience in this time frame, in this timeline, right? Then we can keep going on it because some people say that's why you can relive the same life over and over till you get it right. And I have my one friend, my boy Tyson. He's like, he asked me, he's like, are you here just experiencing your life? Like you're meant to be tired today because it's the part you have to experience to get to the next level. Or are you making decisions that lead you up to here? It's like, where do your decisions come from? You not know? And I was like, so you're saying it's a roller coaster that I'm sitting in and I'm just enjoying? I was like, well, if that's the case, fuck it. Go as hard as you can and everything. Why not? He goes, yeah, exactly. Like, who cares? Let's just go. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's go as hard as possible. So it's super interesting realizing that, looking at your son doing things that you've done. Because I can only imagine, like, so I have to ask, what's your approach? Because I've been in that situation, and only recently now am I like, got to feel the pain, got to leave it alone. All right, I'm going to tell you, this is the advice I'm going to give you based on me. You can see the results I have. If you like my results, cool. If not, go ahead. Like, what is your approach when addressing him with those things?
This is definitely a spiritual journey because I'm finding my balance with it. So I try to be that parent of like that type of thing. Now it's let him find stuff out for the most part. I mean, if he's going to do something I know is going to hurt him like, pretty bad, like he's going to kill him or something like that. Like, yeah, you should probably not do that.
Okay,
and I'll explain to him why. But other stuff, I'm letting him learn on his own. So like one thing is his emotions. He gets upset. He's upset when he's playing his video games.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's yep.
And, like, for me, that was me before. As an adult, I would just smash it. I would smash controllers. I would smash the TV and stuff like that. Madden, by the way. That's funny. The first part of Madden is mad. So
right, bro.
It maddens you.
Mad.
I'm just saying, yeah, you got some spending to do.
Yeah. So,
but that's completely interesting, man.
yeah, I allow him to just experience it now. And if he goes a little bit too overboard, then I was let him know, hey, you're going a little bit too overboard.
Yeah.
Like, but it's all right. You feel upset. But now I'm acknowledging him when he's upset or something. I see that you're upset as opposed to get over that. Come on.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be feeling that way.
Yeah. So you're, in a sense, you're letting him be a kid. You're letting him experience life.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, it's going to suck and it's going to be great sometimes. I'm here when you need something.
Yeah.
Just like, all right, good luck. Share stuff with me so I know how you're doing. Check in. I want to experience it with you.
Yeah.
But other than that, all right, go find your way. Go fly.
And even that part of sharing things with me,
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask them, like, I see something's going on, what's going on? I don't want to talk about it.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want. And then before, I would, like, try to force it. And then I said, I'm here whenever you want to talk.
Yeah.
I just let him go.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, moments later, he'll come and talk to me.
Oh, yeah,
He's
man.
calm down.
Oh, yeah. And the interesting part about that is, like, that works in both ways no matter whether you're older or younger.
Yeah.
Like, just, all right, I'm here to talk. I'm not, you'll share with me when you need to. I'm going to sit here.
Yeah.
Finish reading this. I got stuff there. Just feel your feelings. And then what they say, let them feel their feelings. I didn't never understood that phrase until I got older, and I was like, feel your feelings?
Yeah.
The hell are you talking about? Now I'm just like, what's wrong with her? She upset because of what? They didn't put pickles on her burger? I let her feel feelings. She'll be fine. She'll talk to us and shit. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. Like, it's pickles. Stop trying to don't buy her pickles. She doesn't want you to buy her pickles. She wants to feel her feelings.
Sounds like a real
and
story.
she'll get over it. I didn't say a real story. I'm talking about pickles, AJ. I
Now
mean,
you saying pickles is
It sounds like something back out.
as a kid.
I'm just saying, life happens.
It reminds
Life
me
is
as a kid
life.
now when I used to get McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yes.
I always take the pickles.
Bro,
off of it.
those were so good though. The two
Facts.
cheeseburgers.
Back in the day when I used
the
to
number
indulge.
2 meal
Facts.
It was like the original cheeseburger.
in the yellow paper.
Cheeseburger Happy Meal. Yep. In there.
The pickles were the best part.
This was
They
fire.
weren't even look. They didn't even look like real pickles because they didn't have
Yeah.
seeds.
Remember
They were
the-
like
remember the
like
Angus burgers?
gelatin pickles, bro. But they were sour.
I mistakenly ate one day, and then that was the day that I started liking pickles. I assumed I didn't like pickles the whole time, so I kept
Who
taking it
told you
home.
not pickles were bad? Tell me.
Probably my parents. I don't
See, you know why? Because I was the same way with mushrooms. And it
What
wasn't.
type?
My mom didn't tell me.
What type of mushrooms?
All of them, bro. Like I remember I was a kid in the backyard in East
Growing up, all
Orange,
we had
bro.
was portobello. That's all
Bro,
we had
I
growing
mean,
up.
y'all was fancies. Tell me more about these Portos, my guy. Like, tell me more Oracle. What's up with these mushrooms,
That's all we had growing up was baby bellas.
bro?
Like, now we got, we're more aware of like the different types of mushrooms. We got lion's mane.
I'm
shiitake, all of
done.
that stuff.
I'm done.
Did you ever
I'm
see
done.
that YouTube video when they put like some machine on the mushroom, so you got to hear like mushroom music?
What?
Yeah.
Well, I think I
need
seen that with
link.
like the
I
guy.
need
He was
that
like
link.
connecting it to like different flowers and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I need
plants.
that link. I need that link
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah, I'll send it to you DM.
Because y'all are wild. But I'm just gonna say the mushrooms.
internet is wild.
My mom told me the mushrooms in my backyard. She's like, don't eat the mushrooms that grow out of the ground in the backyard. They're poisonous and you get sick. So I immediately was like, well, if mushrooms grow out the ground, all of them are poisonous and get sick. I don't care. They're in the grocery stores. All of y'all are crazy. So every time I got older, I just told people I didn't like mushrooms because there was an emotion of fear associated with just mushrooms. Yeah. And then I got older, and I'll never forget. I was at the ice box in Minnesota with my boy Law. It was my birthday. And he was like, yo, I'm taking a chef's table. It's going to be great. We're going to have our own personal chef and our own personal, like, bartender dude making us drinks. And I'm like, this is the sickest birthday ever. Like, I got my own bartender making me drinks for every piece of food they bring out. And the chef's, like, doing all this fancy stuff. And he brings me out this thing. And I'm like, what is that? I might jump a couple drinks in, so I'm feeling real good. And he's like, oh, well, this is a stuffed mushroom, but blah, 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 blah in it. And I'm like, that sounds amazing, except the mushrooms. And I was like, Law, I don't eat mushrooms. And he goes, you do now. And I was like, whatever, I'm in Minnesota. And I ate it, and I was like, Law, that was really good. He goes, it's a mushroom. What did you think it was going to taste like? I was like, I don't know, man. I've been picking them off my pizza since I was a kid. Like, and but eventually you grow out of it and you realize, like, someone else is just putting their fear onto you.
That,
but the
right?
emotional attachment you hold forever. And I always say it's like the first time you get sick after being drunk. Like the first time you get sick from drinking, whatever you drank, the brain's like, oh, you don't ever want to drink that. The smell's going to trigger nausea. And you're like, oh, vodka and fruit punch soda will never happen in my life again.
Tito's,
definitely.
Till this day. I see fruit punch, I'm like, I know it's sweet, but it don't taste like that when I look at it.
Disgusting.
Bro, it's the way the mind works, and try to relearn it.
The Jesus of fruit punch, turn fruit punch to vodka.
Bro, whoa, bro. That, oh man, I'd be like, no, put the soda down. Yo, it's a trick. It's a trick. Don't listen to him. But now that's gonna dive me in, right? Because you're watching him grow, and you're like, I have to step back and let him live his journey. I gotta ask now. Because when you're at the point where you're aware of things, like you said, if you knew you were going to make this mistake, would you live all of your life to get back to this point? And your answer was yes. Did you start having what was your view on mistakes at that point? Or when things happened that didn't necessarily go as a plan? What was your view on that?
It initially caused a lot of fear. Period. And it evolved into this statement. I am that there are no mistakes, only creation.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm just saying I agree.
All right, show's done. I'm joking.
Yeah. No. That's so important, right? Because it brings us back to the center, no matter what level of experience you're on. It's kind of allows you to be where you are and at your age and your experience now, and then the experience you were having of that clicking, right? Is like, it may seem like a mistake now, but this is necessary to teach me something that I need to learn on my journey. And at that point, I'm assuming when you started looking at events in your life instead of being mistakes, but as something to teach you, like events, the fear started to go. Did the fear start going away, or was that like a longer process?
It was a long process.
Okay. Because
that's okay.
Yeah, because I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize when it comes to the journey of life. There's this assumption that if you're going after what it is you want and you're succeeding and you're just going and going no matter what, and you just don't give up, they're automatically assuming there's no fear in it. And I think that's the biggest lie in the world. Like, I openly shared, like, people are like, oh my God, Chris, you're doing this, you're doing this. I'm like, I'm scared most of my day. Forget days. Most of my day, I'm like, oh God, like, I don't like this. Like, there for a while, I mean, I remember, still to this day, I make jokes with people. Every gig that I have, no matter what it is, I'm paranoid I'm going to mess up. Like, AJ's with us. I'm in the car. I'm like, AJ, I'm rambling. Like, I know we got everything in the car. We could just leave. It doesn't matter. Like, I do this every time.
Like 3 times.
I'm like, I do this every time. Just get in the car. We're going to be fine. And I'm still getting to the point of just trusting and not being fearful with everything. With everything. And I think most people don't understand that the more success you have, if you don't start looking at this journey as these events happening, not things to harm me, but to teach me and help me grow, you can almost stop growing. Because think about it, the more success you have, the more you quote unquote have to lose. So it's almost as if when you step outside again, you have more risk to take. And I say that because I have friends that are extremely successful, and I'm still me. So I'm like, hey, we should get our skydiving license so when we travel the world, we can just solo jump every place. And instead of collecting like postcards, we have pictures like, oh, that's the sky over Portugal, and that's the sky over Maine, and oh, that was Mexico. Like, instead of doing that, and he openly said to me, you know what? The older I get, I just become more risk adverse. And in my mind, the most gloomy thing in my mind thought was like, that sounds like you're just at that point, like you're a little bit of part of you is dying. Like the child in you is the timer just started, and it's just ticking down till you become like Benjamin Button in reverse, and you're just this old man like body, and you're just waiting to the end, and then you look back and like, well, that was fun at the pinnacle point, and this stuff was pretty cool too. And I'm just like, like, to me, I don't know. It's a personal thing of like, I don't know. Are you okay with not wondering how far you could have pushed yourself?
I never wonder because I go hard.
Yeah.
And I planned in advance. Okay. I did bodybuilding, right?
Yep.
Back
did it, yo. First off, you didn't just do it. Like, some people do it, right? Like, I eat decent, I work out, like, I'm a bodybuilder. There's people that do it. You competed. Mm-hmm. That's a different level. You went pro. You put yourself out there and said, I'm investing. I'm putting myself public for public judgment. None of these people know me. I want to know where I stand.
Got it. And for the professional bodybuilders that may be listening, I didn't get my pro card, but I competed 7 times, top 3 in all of the shows. And then I said, a year and a half ago, I'm going to do it again. Trained for 6 months, step on stage twice. And that was not to prove anything. There's a difference. Not to prove anything, but to exemplify for myself that story that you were just talking about, as I get older, that it doesn't really exist.
Thank you. And that to me almost becomes the the means of not getting older, right? Like, of course, even to the point of your physical reality reflecting it, right? Like, if you think Prince, when they asked him, they're like, Prince, you don't look a day older than anything. You look like you stay the same age.
Celebrate birthdays.
And he said, I don't celebrate birthdays. He goes, because if I celebrate birthdays, then I'm acknowledging the fact that I'm getting older. And I'm acknowledging the passing of days. And I'm telling myself, you're getting older. You're getting older. So my body is going to replicate itself and believe I'm getting older and time's passing. So if I don't acknowledge it and I continue to be in this young mind frame, I'm going to continue to let my physical reality reflect that. So it's almost in a sense of like, if you keep continuing to push yourself and have that curiosity of and willingness to check in, right? And we talked about this with David Goggins, right? The reason why he still runs ultra marathons is because he says to have this mindset, you have to continuously check in and prove it to yourself consistently. There is no day that you're going to achieve something and be like, I'm the baddest mofo in the world. I'm done. I can sit. Because what do they say? What he said, you got to pay to live there, and the rent is due every day when it comes to it. And people don't realize that. If you're not pushing yourself more and more every day, at least a little bit, you're going in the opposite direction. Sheesh. So you take that point in life and everything you do, and now I'm going to bring it back because I'm curious, right? As you get older, you're watching your son get older, and it's almost as if you're learning more about yourself in a different light through his journey as well. Do you find yourself still finding time to push yourself in a direction on that journey, or has the direction in which you push yourself changed?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
So for me, every single day, I set intentional time to push myself. So before I even interact with anybody, I set intentional time to be with myself. So whether that's meditation, whether that's me doing CrossFit Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whether it's me now incorporating yoga now, I wish I incorporated doing yoga. I go to the sauna every day and stuff like that. So I'm doing stuff every day. I set that time for it. So that way I could be present for what life presents.
I'm glad you said that word, present, being present. Because we talked about how quickly time flies. But when you're being present, it both does and doesn't, right? Because when you're present, you're feeling the moment. You're like, oh, wow, this is the moment. Like, it's like that. I always tell everyone, if you stand at a microwave and you watch it count down in your food, the reason why people tell pause and just open it is because they realize how much time is actually passing at that moment and they're present to it. Yeah. But if you don't pay attention, it's flying.
I'm definitely one of those people.
True.
I don't want you to ever microwave
like the 1 second.
Why? Why, AJ?
Just get it right before the 1 second, man.
Like, part of me wants to give you the dad answer on that and give you the reason why you shouldn't. And I really want to, but I feel like it won't even matter. I'm going to give it to you anyway, just because I'm going to. Like, at this point, I like, oh, man, no, I'm going to let it go. See, internal battle.
Amen.
Don't do that. That's all. Because the thing is, I can tell you, there's nothing you're going to learn if I don't
do it all the time.
I'm just going to say this to you. There's a reason why there's a beeper and a timer after it goes off. Because there's a fan that pulls the microwaves out of the microwave itself, so it doesn't hit you when you open the door.
Oh.
Beep, beep,
so I can potentially,
beep,
in my life, doing that?
It's not that strong. They wouldn't let us have those powerful nuclear reactors in our house. Like, oh, no, he blew himself up. He opened up for the popcorn too early. Yeah. Oh, God, it was a massacre. Leave him closed, folks. Like, they would put a lock if it was that powerful. No, but yeah, just don't do that.
Okay.
So I just had to tell you, it was a pet peeve of mine. I only say that because now I learned it from somebody. And I don't know if it's true. Oh, it happened at my job. The microwave kept running with the door open.
Oh.
Oh my God. And I'm sitting
cancer.
And I'm sitting here I'm like, yo, I'm getting out the kitchen. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. So it's important you say that, right? You make time for yourself to be present each and every day and just to lead with intent in it. Like, what does that time of being present do for you? Like, what benefit do you receive from it, or have you received from doing it?
When you're able to just sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts, and sit with your emotions, just be present with that, it helps you in life, there's going to be moments where something's going to happen that's going to stimulate that. So if you start, and I call it the spiritual gym. If I'm doing my reps in the spiritual gym, responding to that in a healthy way, when life does that, for the most part, I respond in healthy ways. Sometimes I don't. I admit that. I'm still learning and stuff, but I'm way more better with navigating it now because I navigate it intentionally in the morning.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I saw you share that, because you do share a lot on your social media page, which I appreciate. It's hilarious.
I share memes now.
You do, bro.
It's a different space now. I'm like, before, like with the content, I'm like, oh, let me do a certain way. I'm just gonna be me.
Yeah, it's extremely raw and present as to how you're feeling that moment, and but they're all relative to stories in your life.
Yeah,
and I bring that up because you mentioned like dealing with things in your life. I remember you guys took a trip to Egypt and you lost your luggage.
Oh yeah.
And I remember you sharing a story about it, but like you're like, yeah, I was really pissed off. I was getting angry, and I almost was getting upset with my wife. And I realized I don't want to do that. It's not her fault. And I'm like, yo, this man's sharing this on the gram, and I'm literally sitting here, and it made me think, like, oh crap, yeah, oh God, yeah, that's totally happened. Where I've traveled, something happened, and you're like, you're pissed off at this, and then they're like, well, how can I help? You're like, you can't help. You're just making it worse. Get away from me. And you're like, you're not making it worse. You just don't like seeing me upset. You didn't lose my luggage. The airline did. We should be mad at them instead. Like, not really. Don't be mad at anybody. But it's like, as someone that's all on my journey as well, it's appreciated to see that open and honesty, especially from a man's perspective, because men out there, they'll just be like, yup, I don't got no problem. They lost my luggage. I made them reimburse me. You know how I am. And you're like, sure, my guy.
You know what I said to myself, which is just a hypothesis, what I'm thinking of, because I just am noticing it. For a person who's working on their awareness with themselves, that's very aware and very in tune and very present, you can see people beyond who they really are with their actions and stuff.
That's true.
So when I see that, and it's so funny, I said it to Kai before, when a person says online, they're like, I don't care. I'm like, if you truly didn't care, you just want to care.
Yeah.
You doing that, showing that you do care. So what if you just acknowledge that you do care?
Yeah.
And work through it.
Seriously. And I think that comes with a heavier level of awareness. Not even at a higher level. You just need to be somewhat aware of yourself to then spark curiosity that kind of spreads like a wildfire at that point across everything in your life.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come back to this, right? Because we talked about, you talked about just you making time to be aware with yourself and the things that you learn from it and how it affects your life and how you move forward now. Being in such a mentally aware state at a younger age and having, I guess, more time in that space, just kind of being mentally aware of yourself, did it allow you to alleviate some of the like traditional hardships that we have growing up and through adolescence, or did you still find yourself in those situations but just dealing with them differently?
Here's the analogy, is that I didn't brush my teeth every day because I couldn't get myself to create a morning routine. I was so aware of that, oh, it's a new day. Like, literally, you can do whatever it is that you want. Why would I do the same thing every day?
Oh, my God. If I was your parent, I'd be like, well, what the hell do I say to that? Like, I guess my only answer is going to be like, well, you got to brush your teeth. We don't want cavities. Cavities hurt. You don't want pain. Like, avoid the pain of cavities.
Find out about fluoride, right?
Oh, man.
Imagine being a young kid and you like, wait, this closes up my pineal gland? Huh?
I was thinking like hypothesis.
I'm gonna let y'all take this. Go for it, because I'm gonna just listen.
I was throwing this theory out there. I was like, can you imagine like two parents who are self-aware with a kid that goes to like regular school, and then the teacher calls the parents and say the kid's not doing homework and say why? I say because everything's constructed. It's all an illusion. It's just trying to brainwash me. Can you imagine a kid was just saying that at a young age?
Oh man, that's an argument I had. Not an argument, but it's a conversation I had with Candace. Because Kaylee is that'll be mad. She's 15, and she's gonna be 16. And like I asked her about high school, like, because I'm like, I asked her plain up, I'm like, what in your day today like inspired you, made you laugh, or was enjoyable? And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, nothing? Like, not even a meme? Like, I'm willing to go to memes. Like, tell me. And she's like, well, my Italian class was cool. Because my teacher, but she's like, it's more of my teacher, my friends in there. It's not really always the subject. I'm like, there's no subject you love. And she's like, no. And me taking the time this year, I was like, yo, whatever their hobbies are, I'm diving into them. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to support you in it. Let's dive, whatever it is. And she's like, I really like cosmetology. I like doing nails and eyelashes and stuff. And the funny thing is, I'm like, okay, so at this age, you kind of know what you want, and you realize school's not giving it to you. But yeah, you have to put on that jumpsuit and go sit in those cement-walled buildings with no color and learn what's in the book. And if you don't, we're going to tell you you're bad and you have to leave. And I sit here and I'm like, Candace, what if we just homeschooled her? And she came to work with me every day. Like, she'd learn how to run businesses. We could open up a business for her. It'd be dope. She'd get a degree another way. And the interesting part is, like, I argue with that because I went to college, and again, we get back to that point of you have to make your own decisions. I can't alleviate it for you because I went to college, and a lot of the things I learned in college I use now running businesses. Yeah. A lot of the relationships I made in college are people I create and do business with. Yeah. A lot of people I do business with aren't those people, right? So it's kind of that point where I'm like, it's her journey. I can't take her out. Yeah. I got to let her do it because let me make this choice. And she's like, this isn't what I wanted. And I'm like, well, I suck now. Like, it's kind of a difficult situation. But I think that is key, right? Like, it's kind of the saying, like, if you judge a turtle by what a bird does, it'll be a failure every time. Like, how do we fix that? Do we create a system that allows you to progress? Because we need math. You need to know how to add. You need to know how to read. Mm-hmm. You should learn some history. Because you need to know where you came from so you don't repeat it. But we all know that's BS because people learn it every day. And then you're like, this world's a giant circle. We're still arguing about this? Didn't we argue about this already? There were laws passed. You're reversing them? Wild. Like, seriously. What do you mean you want to colonize Africa again? We just been fighting against this. Like, Jesus, you can't steal stuff. Like, what do you mean you've been doing it forever? So it's like, it's an interesting standpoint. AJ's laughing.
That's a whole other episode.
He's like, bro, we're totally not gonna be able to post on Instagram anymore. So, but it's so interesting to be at that point and to realize, like, when you have the opportunity to say every day is something new and I can try something new, you're willing. It's almost as if you're willing to take more risk and not just fall into the norm. Like, you could still know, like, I need to brush my teeth, but you're also like, what happens if I don't?
Can I edit that?
Please.
Instead of take more risk, exercise more freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because thinking risk-wise is the fear of something, right? That's risky. Ooh, stay away from it. Ooh, you have the freedom to do that. Oh, I'm going to exercise that freedom, right? It's the mindset in which you have that will lead you and guide you on the road and affect the decisions in which you're going to make going forward. So with that being said, I'm super curious, like, you've taken leaps, you've taken bound, you've gone all in on the things you've done. What do you feel is one of the biggest leaps you had to take?
It was last year when I decided to take time to do something radical. And that radical thing was to take it easy.
Mm.
And I went all in.
I remember that. I think I remember having a conversation with you about that. And I don't want to tell your story, but I remember you sharing about, because you were helping so many people do things and build up things. And you're like, well, why am I not doing that for me right at this point? So at what point did you say, what really got you to the point where you're like, all right, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to sit back and just chill with it?
That I went to the other extreme. I was like, okay. And I've done this with all kinds of things. Like, if I fast, you know, usually the day before is like, whew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So life gave me that experience. I had that experience, and then I was like, yeah, taking it easy is a really good idea right about now. And then we went on a trip. 5 countries in 7 days.
Sheesh.
Wow.
Sheesh.
That's why I got triggered.
Yo, that's
When I'm tired, oh man, time bomb.
bro. And it's so interesting hearing the parallel experiences that you guys are having on your journey, because most people don't realize when you're in a relationship, like your partners are having a journey that necessarily doesn't have anything to do with yours, and you can only be there to support it. And I remember you saying that because we were having brunch.
I was just talking to myself about this,
bro.
I had that.
Ray J, that's why you're here, bro. That's why you're here.
I had that realization, man.
That's why we're here, bro. Because it's like I remember we had brunch in Jersey City. It was us two and Gabby was there. Rooftop, and that dude kept talking to us. He was free stuff. Yeah. I think I was like fresh off of like broken collarbone. I don't know what I was doing. It was warm out though.
You did have an injury.
Yeah, I was coming right off this. We got ice cream after that with the cereal in it. It was fire.
Oh yeah.
Bro, why do we not have more ice cream? Yo, note to self, next show, ice cream, bro. Just
Instead of the water or ice cream and water?
Instead of the water. No,
what are we gonna do,
you
man?
need the water. Don't make me feel
my
old,
bad.
bro.
Dang, right.
You know, I'm young, man. I just be raw dogging my ice cream, straight shots, no water. I don't let my body process the sugar. Jeez, bro. Oh God, make me feel old. Yeah, I like water after a sweet thing. Okay, water's refreshing, but I digress. And I remember you saying the longest way to get to this point, by the way. I remember you saying that when you shared with me, like, yeah, I'm just taking it easy. And I literally looked at you and I was like, I gotta ask you, bro, how are you doing with all this? And you're like, I'm just here for it. And at that point when you said it, in my mind, at the point where I was at in my life, I was like, how the hell is he just here for this? Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, huh? You don't like do anything? And you're like, yeah, I'm here I'm here for it. That's cool. And I'm just like, and at that point in my life, I was like, nah, I gotta, maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe I gotta go figure this out. But now I'm at a point in my life, I totally get it. Like, you're like, nah, we're here for this. This is your journey. I'm gonna experience it. The ups, downs, the highs, the lows, whatever you go through, I'm here for it. You can celebrate it. We're gonna come out the other side, see what that looks like. This is where I choose to be. And it's that saying of Dave, and everyone keeps quoting Dave Chappelle in his most recent special, where he says, "You have to."
No, can you say it in Dave Chappelle voice for us, please?
God, now I gotta not butcher it. Wow, I gotta not butcher it. Cause he's like,
watching.
See now, cause you have to get in the mindset of where he is. He's like, you have to know whether or not it is your moment in your life, and that you're the star in your moment. And you have to be humble enough to accept that you're in their moment at this time. Paraphrasing, I don't know the exact words, but realizing like you're in her moment at that moment, and then there's times when you're in his moment at that moment. And I think we tend to, when we look at relationships, we tend to look at it as like, nah, you're in mine all the time, and you kind of have to confide to this. And if I give in and be in your moment, I'm gonna lose something of mine or lose control of my objective. And I feel a lot of people lose that through relationships, right? Like when I hear a guy go, you know, a happy wife, happy life, I better go home and not do this. And I'm like, are you doing something wrong? Because if you're doing something wrong, go home, bro. Don't be disrespectful. I'm not advocating that crap. But if you're like, yo, you're having a good time, what's wrong? So then I'm like, oh, she believes it's her story and she's not having his. Or if like I hear Candace will tell me, or she'll share with me someone that says to her like, oh yeah, her man doesn't let her do this, or her spouse doesn't let her do this. I'm like, let her? I'm like, what do you mean let? Like, that's crazy. That's kind of like, I wouldn't get a relationship for the control. Like, teach me something. If this is bad for my health, let me know, hey, there's a better way of doing this. But don't get to the point where you're cutting me off. And that's where I find I don't necessarily think it has to deal with longevity. If you buy into it, you'll just be together and you're like, oh, accepting, right? But I think when it comes to happiness and longevity and freedom, it looks different. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. And I share his hope. Candace shouldn't care about this stuff, but like it's been a while, and like I remember we'll go places like, oh, did you guys just meet? And we're like, no, we've known each other over 13 years, and they're like, wow, that's just different. And I'm just like, because we've accepted we're two kids that are just living through life, and then there's other kids here that we decided to shepherd through and watch them do it as we do it, and they think we're more nuts than they are. So we think we're right because they should think we're more nuts. And hopefully they'll get to the level where they're like, oh, no, they're just being their kid selves, and we should do more of it and not let the world influence us through this. And we laugh about it. We joke. We do things and act like kids. And I'm like, yo, you got to do that everywhere. With work and even with mentees. I said that with you guys. I was like, yeah, I'm not being a strict mentee trying to save you. I'm doing fun stuff. If you're doing fun stuff, you want to do some fun stuff, come along. If you don't, stay home. I'm going to be outside having fun all summer. And it allows you, because then I'm showing you how to be a better kid through me being a kid at that point. And I say that to say, like, it's such a strong key of moving forward through relationships and experiencing life, of just being there as a co-star and experience it. I don't think we look at the value of watching our spouse go through something. Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to trigger something in you that we don't want to face, right? Like I know for me, anytime Candace is in pain or something's going on or she's uncomfortable, my first and initial reaction is like, oh no, I got to kill this. I got to make sure she feels okay. And I'm just like, and then I got to the point where I was just like, oh, I don't feel good. I have a headache. I'm like, okay. Why do you think that happened? I don't know. I think it might have been Sunday. Cool. Don't eat that again, I guess. All right, what do you want to watch? What are we having for dinner? Like, I'm not getting that. You didn't ask for Advil. I'm not going to get you that. I'm not going to ask you if you drink water today. You're a grown adult. I'm not a detective. Not my job to go look for it. But it's almost something that we're taught at a young age. Like, if someone's doing this, you care about them, you got to help them. Help if they want it. Otherwise, thanks for sharing. That sucks. And I feel for you. Like, I mean, does it sound cold? I mean, it doesn't. It's not
going
like
through
a
that right now
coldness.
too.
Are you?
Yeah, with Bree.
I mean, do you want to share?
I mean,
You open up the can.
yeah. I mean, it's just it goes back to just being there helping. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because we're we're so close and we've been together for the amount of time that we've been together. It's like, damn, I have to help, or I feel obligated to help. You know, so and I understand that. Like, going back on the journey thing, both of our journeys are super different. So there's things that she's gonna have to experience when I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? And then same thing with me. There's gonna be things that I'm gonna experience when I'm not with her. So and we just gotta go through that, and then eventually, of course, those journeys will align. But we both got different individual journeys that we're embarking on. So
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So do you find it comforting or distracting to have someone there that's witnessing your journey but not necessarily directly affecting and helping it?
I would say it depends, because it's balanced most of the time. I would say it's both. I would say it's a little bit of both, yeah. Yeah, a little bit of both.
Quantum physics says
Please.
that the observer definitely affects the experiment, even though they may not be manipulating the constants or the variables. But just by someone being there, you're having a different experience.
Yep. Yeah. That's absolutely true. You're adding to something. You're adding to it, even in the most minute way. Sheesh. Yeah. So that's because you think about it, right? Like, it directly can affect every decision you make based upon the connection, energy, feelings that you may have with the person that could just be standing there observing it, right? They can either be an influence or distraction, but either way, they're influencing you in a direction, one way or another, of the decisions you're going to make, the actions you're going to take. They can be good, they can be bad, they can go with it. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's just an effect regarding it, right? It's an interesting part. It's such an interesting part, because depending on your personal mindset, you can use that as fuel to push you further or to be an ignition of like, all right, I want to go further for whatever reason. For this person, it's another motivation. Or you can make this the reason why, okay, I don't have to try because I got this person. This is great. I don't have to, I'm good regardless. They accept me for who I am. So it really boils down to, in the end, like kind of who you are and how they influence
She made me want to
you.
go harder, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a good person. I'm saying she's good, but even if she didn't, she's still a good person.
She taught me a few things.
I mean, according to quantum physics, I'm just out here. I'm just out here.
Hey, I'll take a book too, man. You give me
just
books, right?
Hey,
physics books.
bro, you want them? Seriously,
Yeah,
I got a set for you, bro. But that's such an interesting thing about affecting it. Like, and now I'm gonna dive in and I'm gonna ask you guys if you want to share about it. But like, how do you feel you guys have affected each other's journeys since being in each other's lives?
That's a really good question.
Thank you. I got a cheer from the imaginary audience behind me. And they're all laughing now.
I'll add that in. No,
The funny thing is, I'm sitting here and like Dell's like, well, I'm not gonna go first, and Kai's like, well, he knows he's going first. Like, I'm sitting here watching this happen in thought, and I'm just like, I'm just the observer. I'm
gonna share a story.
Oh yes,
quantum
please,
physics,
please.
Synchronistically, because I created it on my content. So somebody was asking a question. On TikTok, you could do a stitch. So somebody would ask a question, you could do a stitch response to it based upon what they said. So this person was asked, I'm curious, for those of you who grew up in religion that did deconstruction from religion, so that's leaving religion, having a spiritual awakening and stuff like, oh, you did it too?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's like, what led you to actually doing that? So I said, for me, it was in 2017. She had her first experience with psychedelics. That was your first, right? That was her first experience with psychedelics, and like her freaking consciousness. She was in a awakening.
Mm-hmm.
She had awakening at 9 too.
Yeah,
but like, she had an awakening, and at that time, her identity was shifting than what I was normally seeing her as in a relationship. So this is what I thought who she was, and she started shifting, have this awakening, didn't know who she was, and things like that. But pretty much to sum it up, she broke up with me in the beginning of, was it January 2017? That was what it was, yeah. So here's how the universe is so sneaky. There was no possible way in hell I would have done psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in religion. That was strictly against religion. There was no way I would have done it. But I had this pattern that I would do after breakups. Mm-hmm. And that pattern for me was trying to avoid a wound that I had of abandonment, which I actually was able to address finally. But with me doing that, I would try to win the person back. So by me trying to win the person back, I would do everything possible to try to win them back, even just allowing my boundaries to be stepped on. And what would happen at that time is I'll get a lot of trauma by actually doing that, because the person doesn't want to be with me.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to force you to be with me. And then I got used for that as well. And this time I was like, okay, I'm going to do psychedelics to try to please her and stuff like that. So that led for me having my first like awakening and start my deconstruction. But in regards to bring it home for your question, she was a catalyst for my awakening. So with the relationship, and the universe was like, okay, I'm going to bring her in. We had a soul alignment. This is our soul agreement. Okay, I'm going to do this to you, and then you're going to do some psychedelics, and you're going to finally get on this fucking page. You're going to get on this shit that I knew since 9 years old.
Oh my God, bro.
But it was like, that was the catalyst that led it to doing it. But like, really, like, this relationship was my awakening. This relationship reflected all the shit that I needed to work on, but really also finally showed me the possibilities. And I'm blessed.
Sheesh.
I would say, yeah.
Whew. Wow.
That's dope. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it was. I just laughed. I'm like, universe, you sneaky motherfucker. You knew it. You knew it.
The whole time.
It was
like, planned out.
Play this pattern over and over again, but you don't even know. And that's the thing. What happens? Those awakenings happens. Like that.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
When it hits you like that, those authentic ones. I'm like, okay. Now I see why I went through everything I went through.
Jeez.
Just like she just said, no mistakes. Really, there's no mistakes. There's no wasted time. That's one thing I saw too. People say, "Oh my God, that relationship was a wasted time." It's only wasted time if you don't learn the fucking lesson that's teaching you. And if you don't learn a lesson, you're gonna have more wasted time. The universe trying to get your attention for something. Yeah. So, lessons. It was beautiful lessons that happened with it. And just like what she said for herself, would she have changed anything to be who she is now? No. Like, absolutely not. Obviously, when I went through, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it sucked in the time. Like, why is it feeling this way? No.
Suffering is slow. But then peace is internal.
And eternal.
Okay. Which, that's what she said.
literally. Sheesh. I mean, whew. I'm just gonna take a break because I know you have to go. So,
I'm just here taking it in.
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. Yeah. That's so dope. Wow. Having that insight, I would very much ask you to share.
First, I just want to acknowledge you because you're an amazing host.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
an
you very
amazing
much.
Co-host.
Appreciate you.
And I'm really glad to be here with you.
Likewise. Feelings mutual.
Ditto.
You're all right. You're okay.
Oh gosh.
9-year-old Muhammad over here.
Yo. Oh god.
You know the reason why it's starting to come together now, which is I'm really grateful to be able to have space to articulate a lot of this stuff. Because it occurs to me in a certain way, up here, right? But to be able to express it gives me a whole other way to understand it.
Yes.
And it's coming to me that one of the reasons why I couldn't wait to be 40 is because I was having these experiences, and I feel like subconsciously that I felt like no one would believe me unless I was at least 40.
Yeah.
Speaking of 40,
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story.
Okay. Please.
I said to myself last year, after taking it easy, I was like, "Oh, this is great, right?"
Yeah.
I'm not doing that hard stuff ever again.
Right? Yeah.
And then I decided to fast again. At the beginning of January. It wasn't January 1st, let's do it on
New Year, new me. Woo!
We went ham before that.
Exactly, because that's, the cycle, right? Yeah. It was January 6th. And I felt called. I was like, okay, it's time. And more than it's time, it's like, I just started. And I had no idea what that month was going to look like. And I started, and the next day I would just ask myself, are we doing this again? Yeah, we're doing this again. And I ended officially on February 15th. There was a caveat, though. And that was that we took a trip to go to Arizona. And during the 3 days we were in Arizona, I ate.
Okay.
And it took a lot to create space for myself to listen to myself as opposed to be in the regimen of fasting. I was in the fasting mindset.
Yes.
And still my practice was that I would listen every day and be like, am I still doing this? I didn't know that it was going to be 40 days until it was. And when I was in Arizona, like myself spoke to me and was like, hey, yo, please eat something for 3 days. And I had to get over the non-perfection of it. And at the same time, it was perfect. So that started to, answer some questions for me about who was I actually being, which was the question that Dell had on his shirt, literally written on his shirt. He had a custom T-shirt made when we went to Arizona. And I had to look at that and ask myself, am I really free if I'm subjecting myself to who it is that I was even a moment ago?
Wow.
Damn.
Damn.
Sheesh.
Hey, I
no
want
dime
to.
dropper.
I want to also not go on vacation with you guys. I don't know. I want to go, but at the same time, like I might just stay home. Like that's wild.
You're gonna take a trip.
I'm going anyway. I would go.
Multiple trips.
So what I ended up learning about myself and now articulating this about my past is that it wasn't the awareness that had me, do the things like excel or be intellectual or pursue things that other people wouldn't normally. It was the awareness of the awareness.
So in a sense, knowing you had something different and unique, you then felt like, oh, well, I think this is special. I then have to be what I think this aligns with what this should be.
The thing called myself.
Yeah.
Who I really am.
Yeah.
Everybody can do also.
Yo, that's wow. Arizona. yo. Oh man, y'all need a full TV show. Y'all need cameras. Like, I'm all in. I'm down for that. You got anything to do?
And then the sun is out there too. So
Right? Yo, that is
just amplifying.
Oh man. So many questions aligning with that. They're just like, wow, right? When you came to that moment, did you start to see everything different again? Almost like you were starting from the beginning of your observations, but with a packet of knowledge, or were you still just kind of observing everything in the same way?
I do in every moment, even when I'm not.
You ever read a book multiple times before? Have you ever did that before?
I don't remember if I'd done it.
That
I don't
book
think
right
so.
there, I've done that book, Way of the Superior Man, a bunch of times.
Isn't it pretty cool how every time you read it, you get something different?
Yeah.
A completely different book.
I was young
Yeah.
when I read it the first time.
Yeah. Why do you think that happens?
You grow, you learn. Something new happens to you. You change consistently, constantly,
Your consciousness is growing.
over and over.
But it's the same book, right?
Yeah. Oh God, oh man, that's so.
It's the same now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it'll be the same in 20 years.
And that's the cool thing with relationships too. As you grow, it's the same relationship,
But you change.
it's the same book, aka the relationship, but you change. You
Ha!
expanding.
Oh wow.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
But you
Something new
create,
each time.
and then as what Kai's mentioned, every day is a new day to create something new. That's the same thing in relationship. Every day is a new day to create a new relationship.
So you could have the relationship you want.
Create it.
You just got to create it.
In every moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
You are.
Moving with intent. Deciding like, hey, I'm going to do this because this is what I want to do. Whether or not it's comfortable at this moment, this is what I want.
I choose.
I choose it.
choose it.
Yeah.
You're creating it anyway. I can create a reality in which Kai doesn't appreciate me. And now
And then you do some shit that will make her not appreciate
and
it.
then vice versa. She'll be experiencing Dell appreciates me. Simultaneously, we're experiencing the same thing. Relationships neutral. I see it as she doesn't appreciate me. She sees it as he appreciates me. Neutral relationship.
Wow.
Some crazy shit, right?
It really is. Because it's almost like the unhappiness that we may have in a relationship dies down into what we're really creating. Whether it's from doubt, whether it's from fear, whether it's from predetermined notions we have from things we've seen. And it always kind of comes back to, what are you doing about it? What decisions are you making? How are you affecting the surrounding you? What do you feel? It almost makes you more responsible for, it makes you aware that the contributions in which you have towards your relationships are going to directly affect the outcome in which you're going to receive. And yet, in likelihood of that, most people believe that in order to get what I want, you have to do the thing I need you to do for me to get what I want.
Yeah. The specific thing.
And you spend so much time trying to get your partner to do that. And how many partners out there literally are like, well, I'll compromise with you, and if you do the thing I like that you don't want to do, I'll do the thing that you like that I don't want to do. And we'll have 50% happiness, and we'll say that this is a good stalemate. And I can live with 50% joy. That's fine. Instead of being like, why don't we just look for the hundo and go for, I'm going to do this because it's 100% make me happy. And you cool? Cool. All right, cool. Not, all right, cool. Like, wow. What time is it? Seriously.
I'm about to drop one more real quick.
Please. Yeah. I'm not in a hurry to move you guys out. This is, please.
So with the relationship with her, you want to know what like drastically like really shifted it to allow like this type of space for it?
Please.
We finally started addressing the most important relationship that we both have in our life. The relationship with ourselves. That was showing in the relationship. But we both were believing, oh, you need to be a solution to what I got going on this side, and then vice versa, which is a common thing in relationships, which is why it never really works.
And yeah, I see that with you guys, because when you talk about your journeys, the interesting thing is you never mention the other person as a direct like interaction of the things you're experiencing, but you always in your stories include them as being present. Like, that is the interesting thing. Is I could talk to you. You guys can sit together and talk to me. And if we cut this entire interview up and didn't have the other person on camera, they wouldn't know another person was here, other than laughing and looking at each other. But if you listen to the stories, there's always a reference of each person being present. I know that everything you've experienced, the other person was there with you. But your recollection, you still take wholeheartedly the independent responsibility of your experience and what you're feeling, what you're going through to yourself. And you don't put any of that externally on the other person. And you even acknowledge if you do that to an extent.
We actually just had that today, remember? Mm-hmm. It was about the podcast thing. So she mentioned about, she's like, yeah, I'm about to go to my cousin's Chris house for a podcast. Like, podcast? Like, what do you mean podcast? And then she was saying, I told you twice about this. I said, no, you didn't. And so we really was going at it with each other for a little bit. I was like, no, you didn't. You didn't tell me twice. I didn't know about this. Yeah. I was like, if I knew you were going to, I was like, hell yeah, I would have went. Because I didn't even know. But then what happened, what for me now was believing that, oh, she's lying to me. So I was being in that type of conversation. And then she's like, you forgot.
You're just not listening.
We had this conversation. But then what happened later on, she did her Scooby-Doo investigation, found out that she actually texted me about it. And then what happened was, for me, I sent the audio message. I didn't see that message, but we only had one conversation about it. So I cleaned that shit up on my end.
Yeah.
Apologize. Okay, you didn't lie. I apologize. She cleaned her shit up as well simultaneously too. So, oh yeah, okay, we had one conversation about it. I thought we had two. And then we moved on.
And it's a beautiful thing, because you're realizing, like, this is only one moment in our existence. Okay.
Yeah. But it's interesting because people talk about it too. And I'm guilty of it before. You'll hold a grudge or something that happened a long time ago, and then you'll bring it up in the art, like a discussion now. Oh yeah, remember you You didn't do this to me like 5 years ago. You didn't mean to me.
Such an accurate
that
thing.
Suffering back into the
Yep.
loop over a moment already happened. It already happened.
Oh yeah, we as human beings are so good at that, and I think
course.
it allows us, it puts us in a state of victimization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one being hurt here because of you. I don't need to change anything.
Yeah.
If I want to feel better, you need to do it. So all of this is your responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. I didn't ask for this. You're doing it on your time, right? And I think we see it so often where we don't give grace to those around us or to life in general, right? Like we don't say, "Hey, I'm not perfect, and my recollection of my memory may not be as accurate as I think it is." Let me ask a question first. Let me go look. You guys, like you said, you were arguing, and then you were like, hold on. We've got cell phones, and it keeps all the records. Google keeps all of our messages forever. What happened? Oh, okay. All right, never mind. All right, cool. Let's move on. But but you have that level of grace for one another to be like, whoa, we're having an experience here. We need to get on the same page with this. Let's go back to the information of it and really dive down into it. And I think if everyone can kind of have that level of patience, understanding, and grace, that each one of us is having our own individual experience of life, and not to look at it as whatever you're doing to me is a purposeful intent of harm to me, instead of saying, hey, something's just happening. Let me go see what it is. I think we'd have a lot more patience in the world, more understanding, and we'd probably just be a lot more happier people.
There's a balance to that because sometimes people are intentionally causing harm to somebody.
Oh no, yeah, that's absolutely true, and usually that's.
Say like, he punched me
Oh
in the
no,
face,
there are people. What they say, hurt people, and a lot of hurt people don't know they're hurt people, and then they hurt people, which is a lot of hurt people. This what we doing? This what we doing, bro. Call Cameron up.
I'm about to say that's like a Cameron type of flow.
Old school, bro. Old school. But nah, man, this show has been this has been an amazing experience. Once again, I appreciate everything you guys have shared tonight. I know I'm better off for it, and I know AJ is, and I hope you guys out there are as well.
Let me wrap it up from my end.
So please, by all means.
Because what you're saying is so important, right? We're talking about quantum physics and how the observer also influences the experiment. And I had this experience of being aware of my awareness. So if we take those two things and we put them together and we say, okay, I am me, and also I am aware of me. I got the hack in the system.
Can't end it yet, because now you're bringing up something that was really important to me that I realized the last time. I don't know if it was after or before the last time I had you guys on the show. There was a concept I came down of like, you're experiencing life in three different ways. Like first I'm me, then I'm also me, and then there's a part of me that's observing the me's. And you continuously are switching depending on what you're doing with your day and your life. And like you have to be able to center in like who's the me that's meing this ship. And for most of us, we don't get to that point because there's always distractions, there's stimulation, there's something to feel only one side of who me is, right? Or influencing it. And it's like, how can you get there, right? And for me, it's always been meditation. How can I get to the point where can I let go completely? Like, what does that look like? Like, okay, if I'm holding tension, okay, one of me is holding tension. Because I'm not consciously making myself hold tension. Why am I doing that? That part of me has to let that go. Oh, we're afraid of letting go. Oh, that's the part of me I gotta fucking, okay. That me is fucking afraid. Fuck you, afraid me. You need to let go because real me wants to do shit and you're fucking afraid of it. And then the person observing this is the other me. And I'm sitting here like, ain't this some bullshit? This is crazy. Like it's just like it's like you're the avatar watching these two things go down and you don't realize you're watching these two things go down and you're just trying to get to that soul-heartedly me that's like the quietest one in the group can be the quietest one
Or
in
how
the group.
about be all of them simultaneously?
Mm.
And this is why on social media, on social media, you'll see that I write "Dear Me." I write
Yes.
letters.
Oh my God, you've been doing that for a very long time on
Yeah.
Facebook. I used to read. I still read all of them. Like that's what I said. I follow you on Instagram all the time.
I gotta tap in. I'm tapped in, but I'm tapped out right now. So
Yes.
I gotta tap in.
Good night, AJ.
Appreciate that.
Good night, AJ. But that's oh wow, that's a truly amazing perspective.
That's the hack for me, and it's all an experiment to
Right.
me. And also it's a game. When I say in those letters, I say, for instance, the last one was, "Dear me, I'm here for you. I love you, me." And people will respond to that because they relate to it as being the you that I'm referring to in the "I'm here for you" or in the "I love you."
Mm.
Or sometimes people will relate to it as the me when I say "dear me" or "I love you, me."
Yeah.
And for me, it's awesome to see the variety of ways that people relate to it, thus themselves.
Yes.
And then also me being in the position of being all of them at the same time, having delivered that message.
Yeah.
It's a sublime spiritual experience.
Yes.
Doing that, especially on social media. And
Yeah.
I love it. It's such a great experiment.
Right. Because it's the amount of observation you get to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not just you're having your experience and your moment, your feelings in this situation, but then you get to experience everyone else doing the same thing.
Right.
And that is where the pure joy comes in, of like the ripple effect of something I'm internally feeling and expressing and going through has triggered that amongst the mass of the people that see this as well.
Which is acknowledgement, awareness, and in the end, love.
And in the end, and I'm going to bring this back only because you said it, like, you made a statement earlier of you couldn't wait to be 40 because you didn't think people would start to believe you until you got to that age. But you're now sharing to the point where people are then acknowledging your internal feelings at this age and earlier.
Maybe it's me acknowledging me.
He's gone. He's gone. Y'all messed him up. This is his first time. This is his first time. I've been here before. I did my stretches before I got here. I drank my water. You better hydrate, bro. Oh, man. Well, I'm not going to end the show. You guys will decide we're end because I'm definitely not cutting either one of you guys off. This has been, like, I want to end it, but, like, I almost want, we have to at that point.
Definitely if we go talk with me later on.
I'm just going to say, thank you for ensuring that you made your statement to close, because not only was it needed, it's beyond appreciated. Yeah, please, thank you. Like, I'm very open to yeah. Yep. We'll talk more about that later, folks. Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to need a breather. We're going to just cut it here. I need to take a break, but this was fantastic.
Super dope.
Having you guys on the show is a whole nother level of just conversation. It is one of the main reasons I love doing this, and the fact that you guys appreciate my questioning and the way that I host is just a reflection of the gratitude I have for you guys being here. So I extremely, extremely appreciate both of you for being here. This is probably one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show to date, which means you're definitely coming back to do more in other facet. So like I always do with everybody, I'm going to give you guys some time. Take a look in your camera. Let the people know what you got going on, where they can find you, where they can check you out. And as always, we'll put all that information below. But let the people know what you guys going on.
The Kai Society, Kai. It's Kai, but it's Kai, because it sounds cool. The Kai Society on Instagram, website, and I love you.
True Essence Connection on TikTok, on Instagram, trueessenceconnection.com. Continue to be you, loving you, forgive you, be at peace with you, and bring that into the world.
Say goodnight, AJ.
AJ is
Say goodnight, AJ.
AJ here.
Oh God. But no, thank you guys so much again for being on. This is beyond a pleasure. And if you guys at home loved what you were listening to, heard, and saw, which I know you already did, you don't even have to tell me, but you could tell us in the comments if you really liked it, and we'll definitely have them back on. But like always, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you tuning in. If you stuck with us this long, like, subscribe, hit that bell so you get those notifications, and follow us on Instagram because we don't want to get shadow banned. We need more likes. So with that being said, as always, it's nothing but love. Peace.
Peace.